So our topic for today is scaling architecture, governance limits, management, and isolation pattern. So when we are working with a Salesforce platform, of course, we have a problem when we need to fight with limits, but better if during the architectural phase of the project, we will make sure that we will never exceed those limits. So the most common limits are too many SQL queries, too many DML statements, and the way how we could actually deal with them. First principle is bulkifying. So we need to bulkify everything what we have. So every method that we have should actually not work with one record, but better if it will work instead with a list of records. And then we will be able, first of all, like make it reusable, right? Because it's now support, like a lot of records, and then we have a possibility to actually not doing our operation for every single record separately. So we could combine everything into one list. Another advice is to our service layer methods must accept and return lists of objects, even if the caller only needs to proceed one record, right? So it's the same idea, right? But here is an indicator for the service layer. Then we have another topic or another suggestion. It's lazy loading, right? Absolutely only what is necessary we need to load. Other records or records which are not required to be shown right now or any kind of additional data could be loaded later based on additional requests. Especially it was the case when in the past we were working with Visualforce pages, and with Visualforce pages here was a problem with view state, right? If you're trying to load this too many data into the page, right, your page might even crash. So kind of the same idea for modern development, right? But just in order for us to not reach any kind of limits, right? To work with at least just data which is required for us to be used right now, right? Nothing else. So better to use lazy loading. Then we could use maps for quick matching related records like querying child records based on the list of parent IDs. Always use maps with an ID and the key. This replacement insufficient nested loops and reduced multiple queries. Okay, maybe good idea. Then next one, right? CPU time limit. So for CPU time limits, 10 seconds for synchronous transaction. So when we're dealing with them, right, it's better to understand what kind of principles we could use. So one of them is already listed here, right? The most common delegation to asynchronous processing, right? Because here we have a bigger limit. And in general, what is the advice? If we have some logic and that logic take more than 2 seconds, so in that case, better to delegate it to asynchronous. Like for example, feature on it might be a queuable apex, right, where we could even do a chaining, or it might be a platform event. And plus loop optimization. So it look like based on the complexity in inner loops process, right? When we are processing through the large list, it's working better with map loops in inner loops because it's reduced the complexity from this one to this one. Okay. The next one is isolation pattern for concurrency. So when we are dealing with long-running operations and a lot of users simultaneously working with the same parent record, we need some pattern to isolate transaction. Okay, let's see what is the advice. Queuable apex chaining, so break up heavy work into smaller subsequent queuable jobs. Each job starts with a new transaction, new governmental limits. It's critical from preventing row locking. Okay, it makes sense. Is a late third-party code managed package. Okay, so that one is pretty interesting one because mostly when we're working with a package code, we sometimes not taking care about what is like inside. Is it well optimized or not? And here I would believe that guy is giving a good example, right? So when we use an app exchange, it might consume our limits. We should enforce a synchronous interface, like for example, run that logic from the platform event to prevent their code from consuming limits.